first ever executive director of sports, visitation, and entertainment. He came from the Richmond Region Tourism, so you know a little bit about tourism, and he has a degree from UVA and Georgetown University. Began working in the Richmond area in 2016 as the sports development manager. He was honored. I don't know if you know Style Magazine, but that's a magazine in Richmond, one of the top 40 under 40. So, JC, it's all yours, please.
Awesome, thank you. This is, I think, Dennis and I's second year in a row doing this, so it's always fun to come back and kind of share. It's been a really busy year for us, and see some friends in the room from our area, Mr. Pulaski, thanks for being here. But this still is a very new initiative for us, and so while we are blessed that in 2016 we acquired a venue called River City Sportsplex, we all know what happened in 2020. So that was 3-4 years later where this model we were building kind of stalled for a little while. And so I think one of the themes you're going to see today from us is sports tourism and kind of that built-in visitor that comes with sports tourism has been a catalyst for so much more for us. And so what I'm really excited to talk to you about is our model is to serve our residents and the quality of life through sports tourism. And I'm sure all of you have a very similar mindset. I know Dennis very well. It's a great initiative for us within our region, and Chesterfield's microcosm of that is to serve a better quality of life for our residents. So what I hope you see today is, I gave a presentation to our board last week, and I think the word that we've really had to evolve into is the word identity. Our identity was sports tourism, but we didn't have a sports tourism identity. I know that sounds weird, but it really is true. And so really over the last 18 months, what Chesterfield County has invested in is kind of from a top-down approach. We had to build an experiential brand for that built-in visitor, and with sports tourism being one of our single biggest gateways as a visitor. And so we kind of reversed the script for a while. We've been doing sports tourism successfully, but we really had to establish our identity as a family-friendly destination and community that serves our residents through this model, and then establish that sports tourism identity and what that means to Chesterfield County. And that's really, in 18 months, I hope you get a feel for that identity we're building together, and all the adventures that we promote that starts with our sports tourism visitor. I joked with our board, that mission statement at the top was the easiest thing we've done all year, because that really evolved itself. And I mean that wholeheartedly. In meeting with all of our, we call them co-sponsor groups. I'm sure every locality jurisdiction has a different term for it. Your local sports groups, leagues, associations, we call them our co-sponsor groups. Meeting with all of them, our public-private partners, our private facilities, and all the leadership within our Parks and Recreation division, that wrote itself. Enhance the quality of life for our citizens and diversify the economy through first choice. And that's a standard term you'll see through all of us. First choice events, first choice experiences, storytelling. And so I say that, and taking our blueprint in Chesterfield County, sports tourism, and really tourism overall falls right into that. Our vibrant economy, we're increasing that economy, diversifying it through visitor spending. When we're a thriving community, we're increasing our quality of life for our residents and our sports groups in this space. And when we're doing our job, we're being excellent in public service because of the community pride we're doing. Shoot, we even, December 2nd, our first Chesterfield County mascot is arriving. That's community voted on. And again, that's because of the power of sports. I want you to see the top-down approach, and included in this video will be some of our sports tourism statistics, but I think it'll give you a good feel of that kind of overarching direction we're taking, again, starting with that sports tourism built-in visitor.
In Chesterfield, Virginia, tourism is big business. In fact, visitors strengthen our local economy for close to $1 billion in spending each year. Tourism not only saves our residents significant money, but it also provides thousands of jobs in our vibrant hospitality community. Making Chesterfield a first choice destination didn't happen overnight. As a hospitality community, Chesterfield has it all. From elite restaurants, wineries, and breweries, to an abundance of hotels and overnight accommodation, to attractions and recreation destinations like Henrico's Historical Park, the Metro Richmond Zoo, or the largest state park of Virginia, Poma State Park. And then there's the sports tourism, which is a big deal here in Chesterfield. We're a national leader in athletic facilities like River City Sports Clubs, the Diamonds at Iron, and SUMRVA, which provide first-class facilities for our residents and host sporting events that pump millions of dollars into our economy. It's also a home team advantage for our local leagues, teams, and athletes. The story of tourism in Chesterfield is great and getting even better. This year, the county launched several new initiatives to spotlight our community and all it has to offer. Lake Chesterfield shines a national spotlight on our sports tourism facilities, highlighting athletes and teams from right here at home. In fact, the Chesterfield Sports Hall of Fame was created to not only celebrate our history, but to inspire the next generation of local athletes. Get out and play on these same fields. Through the relaunch of Experience Chesterfield, we showcase our community as a destination and promoting our rich history and the hidden gems that can be found here. As part of Experience Chesterfield, you've seen initiatives like the Chesterfield Restaurant and the Chesterfield Outdoor Fest, budding annual events that have already drawn great reviews. We even turned a decommissioned ambulance into a mobile information resource paper, and name's Mode, to bring information even deeper into the community. So, keep inviting your friends and family, because the impact of tourism is real and growing larger every day. Around here, you're always closest. Chesterfield, Virginia, where people live and play. Experience it all. Experience Chesterfield.
So I say that, leading into that video because, as a government department, and you'll hear from both of these folks and the authority side of things, we are a government department. So think of Parks and Recreation and now Sports, Visitation, and Entertainment. The way our board, and we'll get into our funding structure, Dr. Miller just walked in, we are funded off of excess lodging tax. So everything you see today and in that video was funded off of that excess lodging tax. There's a whole model, we could do a whole presentation on that model itself, but I say that because we are a member of Richmond Region Tourism as a regional marketing organization, and so again, that brand, these two brands that you saw and that were highlighted leading into the video are really with that sports tourism visitor in mind. We don't have the dollars through this excess lodging tax to go out there and create a national profile in tourism. Everything that goes into Expedia marketing campaigns, going into direct cloud marketing, that is not our realm. I really wanted you to see that because this was built with the sports tourism visitor in mind. We'll get to the numbers here in a second, but we had 350,000 people just for sports come to our area. So again, if those 350,000 people don't know of the experience side of Chesterfield, then we're not doing our job from a customer service and visitor experience standpoint. So I didn't want you to think, that overarching brand, while it may seem like a very big tourism brand, it's really laying the groundwork for future growth and development in this space. But again, starting with that sports tourism visitor. So that's why I mentioned that our first priority really is Experience Chesterfield. But what it brings with that is a way to invigorate our local community into things. We have an identity. You saw like outdoor recreation. Sports is an identity for us. But everything I'm about to get into with facilities, building these facilities, working with our co-sponsor groups, it doesn't happen without laying this groundwork and building community-first initiatives. Yes, the restaurant week, is a little bit outside of that sports tourism sector, but guess what week restaurant week is? It's our #1 sports tourism week of the year with the 4th week of the Jefferson Cup. Again, a priority that gets to serve our community, build a better quality of life, but really doing it very intentionally when we have 17,000 people on our side of town, and Dennis has that same group on his side of town. And so again, very purposeful. But what I want to highlight right now is the Chesterfield Sports Hall of Fame. We started this very intentionally. As we start building this Play Chesterfield brand, building new facilities, which you'll see the model of here in a second, we have to go backwards because what we're producing on these fields and what we're trying to inspire to produce is the only way our facilities and our investments are successful. So we created the Sports Hall of Fame to help us tell that story, to engage with our community, to bring our community partners. You know, you may do in Parks and Rec, we call them a co-sponsor meeting. Well, all those same co-sponsors came to our Sports Hall of Fame. We got to tell a story of what sports means to our community with all of them and together with all of them. Just a couple of pictures from the event. I'm checking my time. I do have a quick video I'll share of this. Again, I cannot tell you enough. While it was a great initiative and a lot of hard work into it, it was an easy win for us as a tourism and community brand to work on behalf of our local partners. This is the gentleman that started the Richmond Strikers and FC Richmond, Dave Amsler, and you can't recognize someone better than him. I won't go too much further, but I just wanted you to see like those stories of what we've done through sports were showcased right here. None better than Denny Hamlin, who's from Chesterfield County. So I say all that, and it is a very intentional effort for us to build not a tourism and sports tourism event first approach, but a community first approach, and I'll get into that a little bit more. I also think, and this is something we can all, whatever size locality you're in, the visitor doesn't know a boundary. So for Dennis and I, when we have the Jefferson Cup this weekend it's the Ultimate Cup, so let's use that as an example. They're playing at our facilities and Dennis's facility. When someone flies in from Miami, Florida to Richmond International Airport, they don't know that they're necessarily in Henrico County and driving through the city of Richmond to get to Chesterfield County to play their games, or vice versa, whatever that may mean. And so that Experience Chesterfield brand was very intentional for us. I told Dr. Miller this is actually in his district. But it was a reminder for me to showcase, to keep dollars in Chesterfield. Don't get me wrong, I love Dennis, I love Henrico. But you know, yeah, I am a resident of his county. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I need those interest rates. But I say that in a very friendly sense of, you know, the data we have at our disposal today. I'm on Placer AI 5 times a day. I can see the visitor that comes to play at our fields and then goes to stay in short pump. But there's a million things to do between our soccer complexes and short pump in Dennis's locality. And I mean that greatly is we have the Metro Richmond Zoo. They have Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden. And we're doing all this together and influencing business spending decisions, then we're maximizing our sports tourism effort. So kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of sports tourism, I think I'm going to almost speak for Dr. Miller here in a second. All of this is great. 160 events that had 105,000 participants, that had 235,000 spectators. It's great, but there's 2 statistics we care about, and those are the 2 anybody can come, I probably have 10 of these. Our annual report will dive into some of these statistics, but these are the 2 we care the most about, and what we're going to talk about with River City Sportsplex here in a second. So our facility is still used 2/3 of the time by our local user groups. So over 90 co-sponsored groups use our sports complexes for $0 because of the funding that we bring in on the back end because of sports tourism. If that was flipped right here, I don't know that I'd be standing up here in all honesty. This is a very important part of what we do. But in our tournaments, 42% of those 160 events, 42% of those participants and spectators were tied locally. we kind of coined this term, and it's not you've heard it before. It's a home field advantage for our residents, that they get to play in this quality of event on these quality of facilities. And by the way, their weekday usage is free because of that weekend usage. So I say that in really advocating for what we do as a community. And like I said, 2016, when we acquired River City, was not that long ago. We've come a long ways into how our co-sponsor groups understand what to do. We call it the Chesterfield way. If there's a tournament that wants to come in on this weekend, but a local user group wants to run an event on that weekend, it may not be the big ROI that this out-of-town event wants to come in and use, but we're going with that local partner, and that's our model. And it really is reflecting in our data. You saw the impact in that video, and there's more in this. But again, identity-wise, you got to have public-private partners, and well, there's a link to it in here, but again, everything we do is with that identity in mind of how our facilities are funded for our residents first because of sports tourism. I mentioned that Chesterfield way. Not every event's going to fit your community. And I think we're blessed to be up here because we have, in Chesterfield, I like to say, great bones. You'll see a story in a second where we're taking fields that haven't been touched in 50 years and renovating them for pennies on the dollar and making money on them through sports tourism. Mr. Budesky's here in Hanover County. They're the epitome of what they are good at in that community with their cross-country course, and they've just invested around $3-4 million into that sector of it. Again, every community has something they can do. I'm going to use Dr. Miller here, we'll use an example in your district. The Tacky Light Run in December. That event only had 11% of tourists at it, meaning someone that came from 51 miles away or greater. But guess what? That event gets to provide us an opportunity for Chesterfield to market our county in other markets because of the Tacky Light Run in a time of year when there's not a lot of tourism marketing going on. So there is always something. It can be a lifestyle recreation adventure race that then you get to go shine a spotlight on and try and get people to come to Chesterfield or the Richmond region for their tacky light and quality of life initiatives. Diamond sports we'll get into here quickly, very low-hanging fruit for us on this model. But it's also really important for us to talk about our visitor experience side of this. We've hosted the Pony League World Series for 16 years now. And with my team, it's a small team. There's 5 total, 4 of us with 1 marketing person. Her goal for the Pony League World Series is to make those players feel like they're at the Little League World Series. They're mic'd up. She's talking to them live on social media about who their favorite baseball player is or what their favorite food is. Again, an experience that keeps, actually Dennis and I were just talking about this earlier. Retention is the #1 thing we have to do in this industry. Because you're on here for a reason. You want to grow your sports tourism. There's destinations all over the country. We're blessed with seeing a second. River City Sportsplex is going to 16 fields. When was that 12 fields 10 years ago? That was one of 10 complexes around the country. Now 12 field complexes are everywhere. So again, 16 takes us into a new category. But having partnerships, we're blessed to have the Metro Richmond Zoo 8 miles away from River City Sportsplex. Well, we're making sure, again, through a very small team, that we're reaching out to community partners for them to market their abilities, that make sure they know to geo-target on top of River City Sportsplex that weekend on social media. Local partnerships, I mentioned it, August 17th weekend, this past August, wide open weekend. We had a couple of inquiries to run tournaments. We went to our local CQL flag football organization and helped them create their own jamboree style event. That took us to a whole new level in year 1 on that weekend with a community partner who, has been over the years, very inquisitive about field structure and who uses these. And now they're sending us great positive emails about partnering with us on a weekend. So again, you gotta start with that community first approach. We're using it for storytelling. We host local radio, we partner with local radio stations to let our high school athletes on there and tell their story. Again, very intentional because you said it, the news, the media roles completely changed and those recognitions aren't there like they used to be. The facility development side, which I think is kind of the last section of this presentation, what it's taken us 9 years now to do is create that identity in the sports space, where every destination complex has a look and feel, similar brand. Again, using the Play Chesterfield, the Experience Chesterfield platforms, every dugout now has, as simple as it is, a windscreen on it, marketing Experience Chesterfield. We have signage as you're leaving the parks that say thank you for visiting, signs as you're coming in that say experiencechesterfield.com. It's very intentional not to send them to a .gov website. Again, we are trying to influence their spending decisions and their visitor experience while they're here, and doing it now through facility development. This is River City Sportsplex. Those 4 fields will take us from 12 to the 16 fields I mentioned. Will be open in 2 weeks. You got to go through their testing on it next week, and then we'll open them up for one of our largest weekends of the year. We'll have 10,000 people in town for a field hockey tournament over Thanksgiving weekend. We're also renovating River City Sportsplex. One of the challenges of that has been that we inherited a facility that was fields only. Well, if you're not in that athletic sports world, you as a resident can't go out there and see the impact that facility's having. And that's going to change with the opening of, we call it the park, which will be a destination kind of playground adventure center within that park. And that'll kick off here. We just got rid of our amphitheater in that space a couple weeks ago, and no more noise ordinance phone calls. That's why I looked at Dr. Miller. But I want to take you through this model as I'm wrapping up here. We purchased River City Sportsplex in 2016 for $5.5 million. That 5.5 was completely funded through excess lodging tax. To build, that would have been a $28 million new build out. We've since spent a good chunk of money, but again, we'll get to that storyline in a second. We've spent or budgeted $29.6 million in upgrades, mostly through a recent bond referendum, and we've actually only spent to date around $12 million, if that tells you how much more is coming in the next year. But we've also given River City its own cost center, meaning all the annual personnel operating. It's averaged an annual net surplus of around $188,000. So again, year in and year out, minus the capital infrastructure, that facility is operating at an annual net surplus. I told you about the 90 co-sponsor groups that use it for free, 2/3 of the time. But this is where we'll get into. Last year we hosted 31 tourism events that equaled that 37% outside utilization. And it generated $2.1 million in tax revenue. Our debt service on that facility is only $1.13 million a year. I talked to the board a lot about this, to be fiscally responsible in how we're building our facilities for our residents first, but using that 1/3 utilization to pay for it and provide. We've really had really good feedback, and in this world, I think we can all understand it. We don't get pushback on that model because it's a community first initiative. Gage, how long time? Do I have 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. We've expanded out into a ton of other areas. This is our recent complex we just opened called the Diamonds at Iron Bridge. It was a 6-field complex that was terrible looking a year ago. Right when I was here last time, we were kicking this off, and in 9 months, using all excess lodging tax, we turned it into this.
If not, Justice Harter emails, and I really appreciate the
I
investment.
guess it picks random
This is
spots,
outstanding.
but you can see the investment
More than just
through excess lodging
the
tax.
Diamond at Iron Bridge will be a place where athletes and fans will come together to share their passion and create lasting memories.
Included in that investment, this is our next phase kicking off, we're really proud of how we're working kind of regionally. Dennis and their team's really investing in the kind of, I call it the 13 and older recruiting 90-foot space, and we're going that 13 and under kind of youth baseball, youth softball route. Fishing, big part of what our future plans are. Again, existing park, corner park, taking 4 fields that are already there and don't look like that, I promise, and turning them into that. And so again, you don't see a lot of new with us. We're using our lodging tax to renovate existing with our community first, and it's a model, even cricket we're getting into, which has been quite the adventure. So thank you for having me. Come up afterwards and grab one of these, but appreciate y'all's interest in this.
Thank you, Jesse. Our next speaker is Jonathan Sweet, County Administrator from Pulaski County. Jonathan's been a CAO for 20 years. Previously, before 2017, he was a Grayson County Administrator for 7.5 years. Jonathan's a heck of a golfer. he won our tournament this year, and Jonathan, you played sports also growing up, so the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I think I understand why I'm stuck in between these two guys. I got to keep them separated, right? They're co-competitors. So I did win the golf tournament, but I also won a raffle downstairs. So if you guys are kind, I'll share this with you.
That's not
I'm going to pop up over here. Did you move my presentation really quick? I'm actually here for the same reason you guys are all here. I want to learn. It's just this right there. And actually had the pleasure of learning from these guys. They're so gracious. They allowed myself and staff to spend time with them, picking their brains. You know, Henrico and Chesterfield truly are the gold standards in this space in Virginia. So I'm excited to be presenting. I should have actually gone first. They're a little ahead of Pulaski County in this space. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time telling you what you should do or how you should do it. I'm going to tell you our story and what we're doing. And it's really more about vision and leadership. We'll talk today with you. It's the vision and leadership of my board of supervisors who understands that this space is something that is potential for great opportunity for a rural community, a next level rural community in southwestern Virginia. I'm fortunate to have my board chair with me today, Ms. Walters. Let's see how this works. How many of you have been to Pulaski County? How many of you want to go to Pulaski County? Anyone want to share what their favorite thing is about visiting Pulaski County?
The lake.
The lake, right?
Motor mile.
What's that?
Motor mile.
Motor mile, I love it. Yeah, we've got a lot of cool assets in Pulaski County. 3 professional assets, professional sporting assets. Clare Lake, we've got the American Jet Sport Association that races there. A lot of professional fishing tournaments. We've got the Motor Mile Speedway. You guys saw us last summer on ESPN, the SRX race. We've got Calfee Park, which was home to the Yankees until there's been some flux in minor league baseball, and now it's the River Turtles. We love them just as much, and they're just as productive from that year standpoint. But if any of you will get back on 81 going home, we're the only community that doesn't complain about truck traffic because all the Volvos are made right there in Pulaski County in Dublin. So we love to see trucks taking freight up and down the interstate. So we're known for a lot of things. We're really close to Virginia Tech, right across the river from Radford University. New River Community College is situated right there. So a beautiful community. We have this initiative called 40 by 30. We want 40,000 people to call Pulaski County their home by the year 2030. And that's a robust desire. However, we're doing some things in the right spaces that we think we're going to be able to achieve that. The sports tourism and entertainment is part of that. Right now, we've got a very low unemployment rate, lower than the national state average. We're not looking to bring in industry that is going to compete for the workforce that our existing industry already needs. So we're looking at delving into another industry, and that's sports tourism. I think that's what a lot of you guys are looking to do. And we think there's a lot of opportunity in southwestern Virginia for this. I'm gonna bore you real quick. I'm gonna read this vision. I think it captures what the intent is. But I will warn you, every time we talk about sports tourism, somebody gives us money or major assets. So I'm just warning you. Anybody wants to make a donation, it's completely tax deductible. The Pulaski County Board of Supervisors envisions making Pulaski County a premier destination for both outdoor and indoor sports tourism and recreation and entertainment. This vision includes attracting sports and entertainment visitors from the region and far beyond. The board aims to capture market share in youth and adult travel sports, exposition space, and various forms of entertainment. The board is committed to providing citizens with access to health and wellness assets, cultural and entertainment opportunities, and organized sports and club programs. The board believes that the county's indoor and outdoor recreation and expo assets can support membership services, community recreation, programming, and commercial application. That's important because what you see in that is a real big focus on its citizens and serving our business community, right? Our youth needs, our adults' needs. And this vision is to be achieved by way of intentions to strategically utilize our Sports Tourism Entertainment Authority and their assets. And it requires great partnership and collaborations with our Sports Tourism Entertainment Department. So this is a department, Parks and Recreation, County Admin, other county departments, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, strategic private sector partners. Together, these efforts would benefit our citizens, business community, and basically with our local economy. So we have a little denotation from the mission. The priority to meet our citizens' health, wellness, and recreational needs is paramount in priority one in this. So we created a Sports Tourism and Entertainment Authority. The code allows communities who want to embark in this space to do something very similar to public service authorities or economic development authorities, and it is a Sports Tourism and Entertainment Authority. We found that we needed to, quite frankly, distance the Board of Supervisors from things like ABC licenses, to circumvent the need for public hearings with public disposition of real estate, i.e. leases and those types of things. So this authority was created with the strategic focus in mind of being a tool. It's a utilitarian board, not a working board or a governance board. We learned a lot from talking to Henrico and Chesterfield of how to structure the board that meets our specific needs. And that's really important as you guys look to embark on this industry, quite frankly, and what tools you need in your toolbox to make that work. So some of the objectives that we're focusing on right now with this authority, the Board of Supervisors just appointed 6 members, and we're now working on a budget. We're now doing all those things from operation structures, SOPs, MOUs, etc. But what we're really needing is a professional like these guys to come and serve as a department head, and we're now interviewing for that position. 30 applications, 14 states. We received interest in this, a lot of talent out there. A lot of folks are understanding that this is branching out well beyond these major markets. Even places like Pulaski County, which I'll show you our assets, you'll understand that enough can be cobbled together to really create an oasis, a magnet in rural Virginia for sports, tourism, and entertainment, particularly looking at the price point for hotels, and entertainment and the lack of traffic that comes along with rural Virginia, rural America. We're going to be joining all the associations. We're going to expect our director to develop all the business planning, etc. But we're looking at each one of these assets that have its own business plan. We're going to do some branding, rebranding, business planning, and then we want the authority to have an overall business plan as well. The vision, and I think this is what's going to be most tangible, your nuggets that you'll take away today, is our four-legged stool approach to sports, tours, and entertainment. First, it's recreation and club programming, our parks and recreation, our youth sports. We now have a tremendous amount of club programs for youth, adult, and seniors. I'll go through those. Membership services, commercial operations, and enterprise applications. Let me get more specific. So these are our youth sports, youth clubs, adult clubs program. This is priority for the Board of Supervisors to make sure we have the facilities and the assets for our youth, adults, and seniors to enjoy. We couch it this way. It's time for Pulaski County to have nice things too, right? You look at your community, you're probably saying that, it's time for my community to have nice things. Why can't we have nice things? Well, I think you can if you structure it right. I mean, it comes down to the economics of it. But at the end of the day, if you can strategically and creatively find a way to pay for these things, then your community can have nice things. Membership opportunities, another leg on that stool, are weight rooms, cardio rooms, indoor walking facilities, court uses, reserved spaces for organized indoor sports, local and regional. Then, of course, phase 2, there's future opportunities with indoor pools and those types of things for membership. So that's another leg, completely different than free Parks and Rec program, right? This is membership. The third leg is commercial revenue opportunities. That's vending, merchandising, retail opportunities, full service opportunities like a restaurant to rent and provide services, co-locations, ground leases, advertising, and sponsorships. Does everyone understand the nuance there? Facility and asset revenue opportunities, and this is that enterprise and application. This is what we're really excited about. We think is what's going to allow us to afford to have nice things. That's organized sports, local and regional. That's travel sports, your AAU, your USA Pickleball, etc. We also want culture and entertainment, and that's expositions, special events, festivals, entertainment, music, etc. That is what we think is going to stand up the assets that we're getting ready to show you. How are we going to do that? How is Pulaski County, a rural community, going to afford to do that? Well, this is our org structure, our operational structure. It starts, you'll notice, with vision. It's the Board of Supervisors' vision. Right? It all starts and ends there. You'll see a line to the authority. The authority doesn't work for the county administrator. However, the Sports, Tourism, and Entertainment Director does. And the director will work and use the authority as that tool we intend it to. Tourism Department, Parks and Rec, General Properties, Finance, IT, all of those departments are going to support the Sports, Tourism, and Entertainment Director and the needs of the authority. And then, of course, we have private sector partners. Right now, it's the Sheeler team. They're managing and operating Calfee Park and the Motor Mile. With that are all of our facilities and assets. So all of this is going to flow through those facilities and assets. So Parks and Recreation are going to do their thing. Our club programming is going to do their thing. Sports, Tourism, and Entertainment Director is going to do their thing. And in all of that, through membership services, enterprise applications, commercial revenue opportunities, and community program, that's our four-legged stool, and that ends with the vision of the Board of Supervisors as well. Let me get into the exciting stuff. Pop quiz. Make sure everyone's away. Pop quiz. What's the largest indoor pickleball facility in Virginia? How many courts? Anybody got an idea? Yeah, it's 12, right? Maybe 13? I think it's 12. In fact, I'm pretty confident it's 12. Pulaski County is working on Virginia's largest indoor versatile sportsplex. Right? Everyone get chills? I got chills just saying that. 20 indoor pickleball courts, 8 basketball courts, quarter-mile indoor walking track, a weight room and cardio room, 2 indoor turf fields, 6,500 square foot indoor playground. This is where we're going to eat lunch, right? This is a competitive market. And we think we're just going to enjoy ourselves and enjoy some market share because in the middle of all of that amazing space is a 6,500 square foot indoor playground. Right, so you can be on a treadmill or in the gym working out, watching your kids play. You can be walking a quarter-mile track indoors, watch your kids play. You can be playing pickleball. We're looking to become the pickleball capital of the Commonwealth, quite frankly. This is 20 indoor. We're probably going to have over 30 outdoors, so we're looking at 50, pickleball courts in Pulaski County. We've got our eyes on a lot more than that. The cool thing about this is the county owns the building. We have no debt service associated with this building. It's 165,000 square feet, right? The Board of Supervisors enacted a cigarette tax. That cigarette tax, as we know it, is a sin tax. They're going to use the revenue from this cigarette tax. Thank you, VECO, for helping us get localities the opportunity to tax cigarettes, because it's going to turn this 165,000 square feet former candle manufacturing facility into a health and wellness destination for not just Pulaski County, but for folks all up and down the eastern seaboard and beyond. So it generates about $500,000 a year. We'll convert that cigarette tax to service this debt. We'll convert all of the money we've been saving saving up in the capital fund. We'll convert it over to debt service, so there's no robbing Peter to pay Paul. So there is zero burden on the taxpayer, the local taxpayer, to renovate this facility. So imagine having Virginia's largest indoor sportsplex and not being burdened by $1 of debt service. Wow, right? That's special. You got to say that's special, right? It's 165,000 square feet. That top right picture is not a rendering. That's the actual facility. It's amazing how it's set up perfectly for this. The restaurant in it can serve 500 people. We think there's opportunities for catering, not just to serve the needs of the facility and the needs of the industrial park, but to have a cottage industry come out of that with catering. So real excited about this. We look to take it out a bit before the end of the year for the renovations. So we've been testing out the flooring solutions. We want it to be versatile. It is not going to be hardwood. A lot of these facilities on the tour are hardwood. You can't drive over them, so they're not really set up well for expos. This is a very latest technology in composite single pour floor. So we'll be able to play pickleball on it, play basketball on it, futsal on it, volleyball on it, as well as have boat shows in it, right? And the columns provide drop-down power to really target that market. Virginia Tech, Radford University would have to put all of their student assets together to come close to what this facility is going to provide in one location. Even though I mentioned we're close to Tech and Radford, they don't open their facilities up to the public, and they're really not set up for sports tours in any way. They're set up for student use. So the moral of the story is we don't think we have any competition in Southwest Virginia, in near us in Kentucky, in West Virginia, in Tennessee, North Carolina. The closest competition to us is in South Carolina, at Rock Hill. It's got 8 courts, but it's not versatile. Like this, it doesn't have an indoor playground, so my kids, when we go there, my 7-year-old, when you tell her to go play, there's no place to go play. You can actually go play somewhere here. This is going to be a trend. I don't think it's a trade secret. I think folks who are building facilities are going to try and replicate what we're doing here.
I accept that.
Historic Healthy Park. We talked to a business owner in Pulaski County with a great love of baseball who owned this facility. And we shared our vision. And he gave us this ballpark. It is the nation's #1 small ballpark in the country. Right? 3 years in a row. It is an amazing facility. There's nothing like it in the small ballpark community. If you haven't had an opportunity to go watch a ball game there, I encourage you to do that. It is something special. So he didn't give us this and we developed a sports tourism division. We had a sports tourism division and he gave us this. Just want to make sure everyone understands the order in which that happened. Before I go on, let me just tell you, the indoor playground, we shared that with our public. Someone gave us a $100,000 check for that playground and said there's $300,000 more after that. And they said, if you don't believe us, here's $100,000 for a senior room in that same sports place. And they wrote us the check. Right? So again, every time we've got another. I promised my board I would raise off paper. In other words, this has not been tallied yet. $1 million worth of donations for this off paper. That's not selling naming rights. That's not advertising. That is literally just sharing the vision. And I assured them that people would give us money with no strings attached. And we've got another $750,000 pledged already. So it's so exciting. Again, every time we share this, someone gives us something. Speaking of a gift, this is a 152-acre motorsports park. It's a drag strip, a little over 4/10 of a mile track. It's where we had the SRX race. Tony Stewart was there. It was a good time. We shared the vision, and this was given to us. We have a 152-acre motorsports park. We're Pulaski County. You guys, Pulaski County, Virginia. You guys know where we're at, right? Pulaski County owns a 152-acre motorsports park, and the nation's #1 small ballpark, right? And we're working on Virginia's largest indoor versatile sports place. So why are we wanting to sit in between Henrico and Chesterfield, learn everything we can? We want to play in the space, and now we think we have the assets to do it successfully. Another asset we have is Randolph Park. It is a true gem. I've got to say it. It was given to us. Right? How cool is that? The real estate that it sits on was given to us, and we have done some amazing things with it. It has one of Virginia's coolest Frisbee golf courses with a signature hole. Our pool house burned down. Blessing the skies, we're building back, and it's going to be a lot nicer and more customer friendly. It's just, you name it, it's there. The only thing we're missing is a dog park. All that's coming. So, we also have the New Valley Fairgrounds. It's owned by the county, and we have a lot of cool events here. Travis Tritz saying here, I've ridden in demolition derbies in this arena. Pretty cool facility. It has a lot of enterprise and opportunities as well. It's nearly 50 acres. So I'll spend just a little bit of time telling you that we own these assets, but we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle in place to be able to manage them. So again, we're looking for a director. We just set up the Sports Authority. Fortunately for the Virginia Tech fans, Bud Foster is on that authority and some other cool folks in the community. The benefactor who gave us the ballpark and the racetrack, he knew we weren't ready for it, right? Sometimes, you look at gift horse and you're like, oh, that's great, but we're not ready for it. He said, tell me your sports vision, sports and entertainment vision. And we did. He said, I'll tell you what, we're going to operate, we're going to give you these facilities, and we're going to operate them for 3 years, 4 years. We're going to operate them for 3 years. We're going to give you these assets, and we're going to operate them for 3 years for you. But wait, there's more. He said, we're going to donate back all net revenue to reinvest in your sports, children, and entertainment. How cool is that? Right? So again, we own these things, but we're not ready to operate them. So we're literally trying to build the plane on the runway, and we have 3 years before we have to take off. We think the Sportsplex is an 18-month rental project, which means 2 years, right? So we've got between 2 and 2.5 years to really put all of these things in place. But we're still going to make money off of these assets because all the revenues are generated back. And we have no debt service. Because, or we will have debt service, but not on the facilities because they're all given or we own them. And then the debt service, we have a plan for that through taxes. So we can afford to take our time and figure this out. So I'm hoping you guys understand. It's really it's approach, right? It's your assets, but moreover, you start with your vision and what you want to do. And we ended up punting. We were going to build a $35 million indoor competitive collegiate track. And we're going to market it at Bradford University. And we were going to use it to bring folks in. Our neighbors, Christiansburg, they did that with Virginia Tech and our aquatics facility. We were going to do it as well. And then post-COVID, that turned into a $70 million project. So we ended up taking the Sportsplex approach with an existing facility. How are we doing, Tom? So yeah, we're building the plane on the runway. We've got 2 more years to figure it all out, put the right people in the right places. The 20th of this month, we had a strategic planning session with the Sports Authority, the board supervisors, and the team, and we're going to refine all of these things and really start to put our vision, make our vision a little tighter. So I want to be respectful. Questions now or later?
Later.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
I've been to Spooky Nook, the indoor facility in Pennsylvania, and I'll tell you, I went there a few times for indoor field hockey, and we stayed at the hotel there. So I could be there for 3 days and never leave the facility because there's food there. There's even an ice hockey. But congratulations, y'all. I'm very excited about that. Our next speaker, I've known Dennis for a couple of years now. He's been a speaker here. Dennis with JC, I agree with Jonathan, the gold standard of sports tourism. Lots of Dennis has over 30 years experience in the industry. He was executive director, well, he is right now executive director of the Sports, Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority. He was executive director at the Richmond, president of the Richmond Raceway for more than a decade. So please welcome Dennis Bickmeier.
I think get that loaded. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. It's great to be with everybody and any veterans in the room. So happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Appreciate that. Thank you. So I know Brian from WIT just headed out. I wanted to congratulate him on the Blue Ridge Bobcats. I don't know if you guys follow any hockey, but they're doing a great job down there with a repurposed facility down there. And I know their story because one of my high school classmates is one of the owners of the hockey team there in the franchise, and they've done a great job. And been in Henry County obviously a lot. With Martinsville Speedway, they had a great race a couple weeks ago, and Clay Campbell was my boss for a long time. So it's been a year since we gathered here. And at that time, I believe we were on the verge of opening the Henrico Sports and Events Center. Or we may have just cut the ribbon on that, I can't quite remember. I'll just give you a quick update on that. I didn't even put any pictures up of that because I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a different approach this year. But the building is doing exactly what we thought it was built to do. Jonathan, he's visited. I know our friends from York and James City and Williamsburg have visited, and good luck to you guys. You guys are under construction. Good luck to you guys. It is a 185,000 square foot facility, 12 basketball courts that can convert to 24 volleyball courts. They can also then convert into about 3,500 plus seat arena. So very multi-purpose space. And then in the first year, we really have showed that it is multi-purpose. We've done everything from the A-10 Women's Basketball Championship to hosting VCU's real estate conference to other trade shows. Obviously, a lot of basketball. We've had a 192-team volleyball tournament in there. We have a couple 180-team basketball tournaments in there, youth basketball tournaments. You walk in there tonight or tomorrow, all 12 courts will be going with something, either futsal, volleyball, or basketball, some combination of all of those. I think John Pulaski walked out from Hanover, and he's been referenced a few times. I know they're feeling the impact in a positive way because we are right on the border of Hanover County. And if you look at their hotel data, they're up like double digits, and their daily rates up double digits. And we talked to some of the business owners over there as well, and they're seeing the impact of the teams that are staying in the area and coming and eating in the restaurants and things. Pickleball was mentioned. We just opened up our second 12-court facility that now is right across the street from the original 12. It was 8 and then 4. Now we just built 12, so we have a 24-court outdoor hub. But one thing we did with that, and again is part of our job, is to look at things with a different set of eyes, because our Recreation and Parks Department, they would have taken the old plans, pulled out what they did before, and built the exact same thing. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all, except here we come and say, look, if you build these to a different spec, we can then go bid on a completely different type of tournament that we've already been hosting there. In fact, in discussions about hosting pro tournaments there, because they are built to a pro spec. So we can do seating and grandstands and make it look like, those temporary grandstands and stuff that you would see at a golf tournament. So that's kind of where we come in and looking at things with a different eye. Again, when we were here, we were about a year and a half into the startup, which was the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority. So we were moving quickly. We were writing the playbook. We use that term a lot too. We're building the plane at the same time we're trying to fly the plane. Again, I know we've had a lot of people come and visit, and we appreciate that. And it's been great to share our experiences with folks. I think JC, you were relatively new in your role about the time we were here last year. So obviously, everything that he showed and what he has going on is making a tremendous impact for our area as well. And certainly, Jonathan, I wish I had something to give you, man. I don't have anything right now, but if I win the Powerball tonight or tomorrow, I'd be happy to give you a few million of that 360 million. But again, this is what's happening in the sports tourism world, because we open a facility, we're getting a lot of publicity, but our phone's ringing, and we're getting emails from people from around the country. We've had people from Texas, Indiana, and Florida come visit our building. We've taken a lot of calls from other people as well about, again, what is this thing that you're doing? Why did you do it? But I did the same thing. I talked to people in Tampa, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Massachusetts, Kentucky, kind of the same thing that we're doing, or that you guys are doing here, kind of listening to us and learning from our experiences as well. So again, I think it's not just about our indoor facility, but it's about kind of the why as to why we did this. Adjust that. There we go. All right, thank you. So what I recall from last year's opportunity here was we were highlighting our 4 key pillars. Those were our areas of focus. And again, as well as talking about facility development and economic impact. And again, all that's relevant today. But at that time, we didn't have a formal strategy. All right, our 4 key pillars here gave us the roadmap that we were working on and gave us our focus. And quite frankly, I'm glad we didn't have a strategic plan at that point, because we were running hard, and at that time we were trying to get a building built. We were trying to frame up a board of directors. We were trying to write policy and procedures, had to write an employee handbook, and doing everything that goes along with being a startup organization. So again, I'm glad we didn't have a strategic plan at that time. I really thought I was going to sit down and do that within the first couple of weeks. There was no way. But I'm glad I took the year and a half plus or more to do it and ultimately frame up our plan. What we had to do in that time too was we had to learn how to work with other county departments. In particular, recreation and parks. Again, a lot of our facilities are embedded, our sports facilities are embedded in our park system. So we had to balance, you hear a lot of discussion today about community balance. So we had to balance that use between rec and parks, community use, youth associations. Here comes the guys that run the tournaments. We had to get in line and get our weekends booked as well. Again, so that we can do what we do, and that's bring out of town visitors in. So really, we had to learn how to work with all those departments, work with our DMO, with Richmond Region Tourism, and work collaboratively with them. We had to work with our high schools. So all that stuff was going on when we were just getting started and trying to get framed up. And a lot of those people were looking at us going like, who are you guys? Like, what do you do? How do you do it? Why do you do it? So we had to, again, try to answer those questions as we were moving along. I will say this too, most of our staff, we have 7 full-time, 1 part-time, 1 graduate assistant. We don't speak government. I spent 35 years, almost 35 years in the private sector. I've spent my entire career working in the business of sports. Most of the people on our staff, outside of 3 of them, worked in sports, not in government. We do have 3 of our staff members who did come over from rec and parks and work with us. And I thought that was really important given what we were doing, was to have some professionals, not just on the government side, but professionals who understood sports and had those connections and contacts that can help us when we go out and bid on events to bring them to our area. We also joked a lot about our county. It's been a long time since they stood up a department, and the EDA had a 55-year head start on us. So we're in the same building as our Economic Development Authority, and that's by design, because we actually collaborate a lot with EDA. We work very, very closely with them. And when people ask me what I do, if you're familiar with EDA, I say, if you know what they do, we do the same thing, just on the sports side. We're going out, we're doing public-private partnerships, we're bidding on events, we're competing to try to bring business into our community. We work on business retention. We just do it with the sports and entertainment twist to it. So that's why we're really closely aligned with EDA. So again, I say all this to bring us back to why. Why did Henrico, the name of this is Get in the Game. So why did Henrico get in the game? So I'll share with you what's still a work in progress. It is our strategic plan. It's not 100% final. I know there's a lot of words, and you're going to see a ton of words in these next couple of slides. But, in my view, my experience, strategic plan, it's your roadmap. It should be an adaptable, adjustable document, and we're really working on that. And then really our next thing is we're really working on really the actionable and measurable strategies that will go along with this. But the foundation, why, where, and how. Okay, we are the principal contact for sports tourism for Henrico. And then we manage the public-private partnerships, as I said, and any investments in sports and entertainment in our county. As you can see on the why, it's about enhancing the economic, social, and cultural vitality of our community. Again, a lot of those same words that you've heard from the other members of the panel. But for us, it's to make sure that everything does ladder up to that why. So everything that we do now will ladder up to that why. And then where we're headed. We want to be innovative. We want Henrico and our region, and again, with what Chesterfield has going on, to be a premier destination. Central Virginia is, getting some amazing accolades right now as a destination, and sports and entertainment is playing a role in that focus that's coming to our part of Virginia. And then it's how. It's people, it's partners, it's facilities, and of course, money. We're not getting a lot of stuff for free like Jonathan. I got to figure that out. But again, all those things are interconnected. All right, and then again, you can see from this slide some of the activities we're involved in as a host, as well as some of the facilities that we work in. Some of these we have oversight on. Most we partner with Richmond Region Tourism on a lot of the activities, and again with Rec and Parks on the facility side. there are some some of the events that we own and operate, and I do think it's important to diversify your portfolio with not always relying on somebody else to bring an event to your community. If you can own and operate, create your own events from the ground up, that allows for some diversification, because these tournament operators, people are knocking down their door right now, and they want them, and a lot of them are getting a lot of money thrown at them to take events somewhere. So we can sign a 3-year deal with somebody, we can execute some phenomenal events for us, but at the end of that 3-year run, they can say goodbye because they're moving on to the next check or moving on to the next thing. So we got to be thinking down the road how we backfill that. I do like the opportunity of building some of our own events from the ground up and controlling our own destiny as well. In an effort to, again, build out our sports and entertainment portfolio, the county has conveyed some land to us to build some other public-private partnerships, again, similar to EDA. As JC mentioned, we do have a development that's underway of another 4-diamond baseball complex, but that is built to a college spec. That was the one thing missing in our sports portfolio, was a diamond field that could host a college game. We have some really cool little stadiums and stuff, but to be competitive, to go out and bring some college events in, we just didn't have a field that had the dimension. The 4-diamond complex on the land that the county's given us is next to where the county's doing a next phase development of Glover Park. They're going to build 2 additional fields right next to the 4 that the private side is building. One of those will be a stadium, again, built to a college spec that will allow us to go out and bid on things. So really what it ends up being is like a real nice looking 6-field spring training complex, if you're familiar with some spring training complexes in Florida or in Tampa. The other parcel that the county's given us sits next to our arena-anchored Green City development, and we're in active conversations about developing the 18 acres that we have next to Green City. We're looking for something complementary to what will go on inside the arena. But again, our community's been without a major arena for a long time, and the plan on the books right now is to build a 17,000 seat arena. So again, using our facility adjacent to that, what can we place there that will be complementary to the arena, but then also drive critical mass to that area to help fill up the hotels and the restaurants that will be built in that district. So this graphic is kind of the heart of how everything connects in our strategic plan. So again, all this from building and delivering against our strategy, and how everything kind of ladders back to economic, cultural, and social vitality. So national tourism, we are hosting national events. Community-based tourism, giving our local athletes a place to play against outside competition that's coming into our area. And then, again, having some great facilities that give you that local pride, to be able to play on some really world-class fields. These are just the building blocks. Again, the reputation and resources part of it. Again, I know it's kind of hard to read. I also call it the 3 L's: leadership, location, and loot. One of the things I've learned in the government world, y'all use resources a lot. I take that as code for money. So we need money to do what we do. So, but again, we've all talked about vision and leadership. We can't do this without the support of our board of supervisors, our county administrators, our department leaders. And again, we sit in a really good location. I-95 and 64, people complain about I-95 a lot, but it's really what's driving our business right now. It's getting those teams out of the north that are coming down and playing in our facilities, and there's a lot of them that are coming down. Partners, got some of them listed there. We need them. Can't do it alone. Again, we need that marketing help to be able to go out and bid. We need money to go out and bid on events. We need ideas and volunteers, and a lot of our partners deliver that for us. And again, some of that is really leaning on our DMO, Richmond Region Tourism, that can help us with that funding. No, you're good. Stay there for a second. Oh, sorry. No, it's all right. Again, the values piece of this, a lot of it is just, how else can we impact our community? Being good local partners, being a good corporate citizen, caring about our environment. It's amazing the young people that are coming and playing in our facilities. That's a real high priority for them from a sustainability standpoint. So making sure that we're always thinking about that as we're developing these new facilities. And of course, if you're working on a project called Green City, you better have sustainability top of mind. So we certainly do that. And again, we want to make sure that our facilities are inclusive and welcoming to all. And then our business strategies, again, how do we go to work every day? What's our North Star as it relates to the types of events that we want to go after? Again, that gives you that mix of national and local use and activities. And again, a lot of it goes back to, under our business strategies, you'll see our human capital, our people, our facilities. Again, certainly we mentioned the economic impact side again. But the sum of all those parts is, again, keeps going back to that one thing, economic, social, and cultural impact that our organization is making. So this is what the front, this is our strategic plan placemat, by the way, and it's like this big, and I have copies of this, or I can email it to anybody. Gage said people like takeaways or whatever, so if anyone, but that's what the front of that looked like. So all those building blocks that I just showed you, if you really want to see word soup or whatever, go to the next one. I'll show you the back of it. So this is the back of it, but again, the important thing here is we're building out a strategy as you're looking to develop this, and I think what you guys have talked about with your strategies and everything, they all kind of go back, at least in our 5 kind of strategic outlines. The organizational, financial, business operation, facility, and community strategies. So again, all this is laid out our approach, but now it's really getting into the detail part, as I said. What are the actionable items that live in the middle of this, and then what are the measurements that we're going to use going forward? So you can go up. I mean, ultimately, it does come back to our economic impact. You can see our numbers at $1.9 billion in direct visitor spending in 2023. Our sports tourism impact was about $72 million. We track everyone about 50 miles or more that come and take part in facilities. And those are only directly related to ones that we host. And then I will say this too, the 72 does not include our PGA Tour Champions event that's hosted in Henrico County, but benefits our entire region, as well as the NASCAR races at Richmond Raceway. So those other 2 events as well drive some huge economic impact numbers in our area. The social impact side, again, I mentioned the variety of events that we host in the Sports and Event Center, and as we look at variety and some of our other, that has a benefit to our community. It's given our residents something else to go see and do. We've done family entertainment in our indoor facility, kids camps, the competition side of this alone, again for our locals, giving the kids an opportunity to be on a team, to learn how to compete is really important. So I feel like all those things are opportunities that having a facility like that is driving some benefits from the health side too for our communities. The other thing that we've been able to do is talk to a lot of our youth associations and find out what some of their struggles are. We hear it a lot on referees, coaches. There's a need for both right now, but equipment too, breaking down some of these barriers to entry. So we've been able to go out and have equipment drives, donate those back to our youth association. So it really comes back to, again, trying to think about the impact that sports can have, even beyond the dollars and cents, to our residents and to our out-of-town visitors. Again, this shows the donation drive, but again, the cultural experiences, creating these gathering places, hosting a national event like the National Wheelchair Basketball Association to showcase adaptive sports and what that can do in your community. And we're fortunate in our area to have Sportable, which is the driving force behind adaptive sports in our community. High school graduation is another thing. It's the first thing, by the way, that goes on the calendar every year for the Sports and Events Center. Don't mess with the graduation. And to the point that next year, we did all 9 of our high schools in Henrico last year. Next year, we will host 17 high school graduations in our building. Hanover, King William, Caroline, and 2 CTE programs. Yeah. We've had a nursing school recently do a graduation in there. So again, that just shows some of the flexibility in the building. As JC mentioned on the Hall of Fame side, we do have a partnership with the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and in the Sports and Events Center too. And it really is important for kids to know who came before them. And what's really cool about what the displays and things that we have in there, there's a lot of downtime for sports as well. So you can see parents and kids, parents having conversations with kids, pointing at names and trying to tell some stories, or I saw this person play, or I know this person, and things like that. So we have found that to be really rewarding at not really a lot of effort. So go ahead. Just to wrap up a few things here. These are some of the things that are coming up next. Again, the Sports and Events Center with Richmond Region Tourism, we were successful, and Randolph-Macon College, I'll add. We were successful in landing the Division III Women's Volleyball National Championship in 2027. The Green City Arena, I mentioned, the 8-10 Women's Basketball Championship was a signature event in year one of the Sports and Events Center. We had them back for 2 years. I mentioned the baseball build out. That's the private developer, it's Prep Baseball. And then going back to the Crossings Golf Course for a second, I mentioned the Dominion Energy Charity Classic. They have 1 year left on their contract at Country Club of Virginia. We are going to attempt, from a business retention standpoint, to keep that event in our community. But to do that, we had one 18-hole facility that was a public facility in our county. We had an 18-hole facility before Belmont Golf Course that had been renovated, but turned over to First Tee. It's now a 12-hole facility. So we're working with our Economic Development Authority. They acquired the land for the golf course, and then we're working with the private side to renovate the golf course. It's about an $11 million renovation. And if we're successful in that, then we hope to be successful in continuing to keep the PGA Tour event in our county. If not, then we'll go and look for other events that we will have there. All of our high school teams will play there, and then work with bidding on college championships and things to go on there as well. Again, from a what's next standpoint, we are using some reserves, and JC touched on this, from a funding standpoint to generate sports tourism grants for some of our sports partners. So our first 3 recipients of the grants, Nova Swimming, kind of like what you're experiencing with repurposing a building. You walk into Nova Swim Aquatics, it was a 2-story Macy's department store. It is now one of the top aquatic centers in the country. We're giving them a sports tourism grant to help kick off their fundraising efforts to build out 1,000 seats on the mezzanine. That will open up opportunities for us to go and bid on bigger swimming events that they're not currently bidding on. Strikers, we've referenced Jeff Cup multiple times today. We have a 5-year sports tourism grant going to them to redevelop a good portion of their Henrico-based facility, again, so that they can do more with our local athletes. But then also, there's a waiting list for Jeff Cup, for teams to get into Jeff Cup. So again, being able to build out their facility will hopefully allow us to get more of those teams in. And then the Crossings Golf Course I just mentioned, we helped kick off their fundraising effort. Again, this session's called Get in the Game. Sports tourism is its own brand. It's its own segment of the tourism economy now. And it's ultra competitive, as I said, with these tournament promoters that are having a lot of money thrown their way. So I look at it this way. All the years I've been in sports and reading Sports Business Daily and Sports Business Journal, they are writing about sports tourism. They are not just writing about the NFL, the Big Four, and all that. They are writing about youth sports. So there's a movement going on in this space. So again, that's where I come back to, it may not work for every locality on your own. It may work better for you collectively joining up with a couple of your local partners. But it all goes back to, and I know Jonathan and I have had this conversation too, and he highlighted a few of it, is, but find your niche. There is something out there that you have in your community that will spark an opportunity to go out and be competitive and bid on something. So with that, this is the message that our county manager gave our new board of directors that just started a couple of months ago. His first message to them was be bold. So we use that every day. So That's it.
All right, we're out of time, so if you have questions, I think they'll hang around for a few more minutes. You can talk to them. But can we give them a round of applause? And, I hope to bring this